All right, buckle up everyone, because today we're diving deep, and I mean deep, into the world of Windows and how it's built for gaming.
Yeah, we're talking about the tech that makes those incredible games we all love run so smoothly.
Now, you might think we're going way back in time, talking about things like Win32 and DirectX.
But trust me, this stuff is still super relevant today.
That's like the foundation of a skyscraper.
Exactly.
You might not see it, but it's what's holding everything up.
Win32, for instance,
Go ahead.
it's this massive API that's been around forever.
Forever.
But it's like the heart and soul of Windows development.
It gives game developers access to, well, basically everything they need to make a game sing and dance.
It's the ultimate toolbox.
So even with all the fancy new tech out there,
Game developers are still using good old Win32.
it's like finding out your favorite sports car is built on a classic muscle car chassis.
Exactly.
So it's not just about the basics.
No, Win32 also gives you access to advanced graphics and audio capabilities.
Ooh, okay. So this is where DirectX comes in.
You got it.
So DirectX is like the turbocharger for multimedia.
It's specifically designed to squeeze every ounce of performance out of your gaming rig.
Hold on. So DirectX has a direct line to the hardware.
Pretty much.
No wonder games look so amazing these days.
It's like speaking the language of your graphics card directly.
That's awesome.
And that translates to realistic lighting,
Yeah.
detailed textures,
Okay.
and smooth animations.
So we've got this powerful combo of Win32 and DirectX.
Uh-huh.
But what about the language?
What language are most games written in?
Yeah, what's the secret code behind those epic boss battles?
C++ that.
C++ at.
It's the language of choice for a lot of game development.
And why is that?
It gives developers that fine-grained control
Okay.
and efficiency that's needed for high-performance games.
It's all about speed and memory usage, right?
Absolutely.
Crucial for a smooth gaming experience.
Think of it like fine-tuning an engine for maximum performance on a racetrack.
All right, makes sense.
But here's the thing. You've got all this high-powered code running.
Yeah.
What keeps things organized
Oh, good question.
and prevents one buggy game from crashing the whole system?
Yeah, that's happened to me before.
That's where the concept of processes comes in.
Processes.
Each game runs in its own isolated space, like having separate lanes on that racetrack.
So if one car spins out,
It doesn't cause a pileup for everyone else.
so that's why I can have multiple games running without them interfering with each other.
Exactly.
But I've heard about something called COM objects.
Yes, COM objects.
What are those all about?
COM stands for Component Object Model.
Component object model.
It's kind of like a universal translator for different software components.
A universal translator?
You see, DirectX itself is made up of different parts.
Right.
You have Direct3D for graphics, Direct Sound for audio.
Okay.
Each of those is a COM object.
And games use COM to talk to them.
You got it.
So even though COM sounds a little technical,
It is quite technical.
it's crucial for games to access all those cool DirectX features.
Absolutely.
It's like the unsung hero behind the scenes making sure everything runs smoothly.
And it's not just for DirectX either.
Oh.
COM is used all over Windows, managing user interfaces, networking,
Wow.
even system services.
So it's like the glue that holds a lot of the Windows architecture together.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've got Win32 for the basic functions, DirectX for the multimedia power, and COM as the glue that connects everything.
That's a pretty impressive system.
I'm starting to see how Windows is built for gaming, but games have changed so much over the years.
They sure have.
How has Windows kept up with all those crazy demands?
That's a great question. Modern games are really pushing the limits of hardware, so Windows has had to adapt.
Okay, like how?
Well, one big challenge has been screen resolution.
Yeah, as displays get sharper and sharper.
Things can look tiny or blurry if they're not scaled properly.
Right, who wants to squint at their screen just to read the game text?
Exactly. So Windows had to become DPI aware.
DPI aware.
It means it can adjust how things are displayed based on the resolution of your monitor.
So it knows if I have a super high-res gaming monitor or a regular laptop screen.
Exactly. And it's not just a global setting either.
It can handle different DPIs per monitor.
Absolutely. So you could have a high-res gaming monitor and a regular laptop screen.
Yeah.
And Windows will make sure everything looks sharp on both.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
And it's essential for a good gaming experience these days.
But games aren't just about graphics anymore, right?
Definitely not.
There are all sorts of different input methods now, like controllers,
Yeah.
touch screens, even VR headsets.
And Windows has evolved to support all of those.
So whether I'm clicking a mouse, tapping a screen, or waving my arms around in VR.
Windows is making sure the game knows what you're doing.
That's incredible.
And this flexibility is essential for creating immersive experiences.
Imagine playing a strategy game on a touchscreen, or using a stylus for precise control.
It's all possible thanks to Windows support for diverse input methods.
All right, speaking of immersive experiences, let's talk about audio. Games nowadays have incredible sound design,
They really do.
from realistic environmental sounds
Yes.
to epic soundtracks.
What role does Windows play in delivering that high-quality audio?
I'm glad you asked.
Windows has a whole set of APIs dedicated to audio management.
Okay.
It handles everything from basic sound effects to advanced features like spatial audio,
Visual audio.
where sounds are positioned in 3D space to create a more realistic experience.
So when I hear that sneaky enemy creeping up behind me in a game,
Your heart skips a beat.
it feels like they're actually there.
That's the power of spatial audio.
It's like having surround sound even with headphones.
And it's not just about playing sounds either.
What else?
Windows also provides features like audio mixing
Right.
and equalization, ensuring that the different sound elements of a game are balanced and sound great together.
It's like having a sound engineer built right into your operating system.
Exactly.
Okay, we've talked about graphics, input, and audio. But there's another crucial aspect to a great gaming experience. Performance.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to play a game that's constantly lagging or stuttering.
No one.
What's Windows doing to ensure that games run smoothly and responsively?
Windows is constantly being optimized for gaming performance.
Okay, what kind of optimizations are we talking about?
Well, there are a ton of features dedicated to making sure games have the resources they need.
Right.
For example, Game Mode was introduced in Windows 10 to prioritize system resources for games.
So it's like Windows is saying, hey, game on. You get priority access to the CPU and GPU.
Precisely. And there are other features like Windows built-in support for multi-core processors.
Which allows.
It allows games to take advantage of the parallel processing power of modern CPUs.
So even if I'm running other programs in the background.
Windows does its best to make sure the game gets the resources it needs.
This is all starting to sound like a well-oiled machine.
Windows is like a co-pilot for the game, working behind the scenes to optimize everything for the best possible experience.
I like that analogy.
And as games continue to evolve and demand even more from our systems, Windows will continue to adapt.
Providing developers with the tools and features they need to create truly amazing experiences. Okay, so we've got a taste of how Windows is built for gaming, from those fundamental APIs like Win32 to the features that optimize performance.
It's a pretty amazing ecosystem.
But I think it's time to dive even deeper now
I agree.
and explore some of the key tools and technologies that developers use to create those incredible worlds we get to experience in games.
It's like opening up the hood of a race car and seeing all the high-performance parts.
All right, let's do it.
I can't wait to show you what's under the hood.
Stay tuned, everyone, because things are about to get really interesting.
All right, welcome back, everyone.
So last time, we went pretty deep, right?
We talked about all the behind-the-scenes stuff like APIs and that runtime environment.
But this time, let's talk about the stuff we see as gamers.
The features that make games look amazing run smoothly.
I'm all about that.
Like, have you heard about the Windows Composition Engine?
Windows Composition Engine.
It's kind of a mouthful.
WinComp, maybe?
Yeah, WinPomp. That's where the visual magic really happens.
Okay, give me the breakdown.
Think of it as the conductor of an orchestra.
Okay, I'm listening.
You've got all these different visual elements on your screen, right?
Windows, game.
Effects.
Yeah.
And WinComp makes sure they all play together nicely.
Okay, so I'm picturing a conductor waving their baton, making sure all the instruments are in sync.
Right.
But how does that translate to a better gaming experience?
Well, WinComp is all about composing and displaying those visuals smoothly and efficiently.
Gotcha.
It's a big deal for things like animations, transparent windows,
Okay.
and all those cool special effects you see in modern games.
And it has a secret weapon, right?
It does. It's called DirectComposition.
Direct composition. Is that like a superpower for WinComp?
It's like giving the conductor a magic baton that can control each instrument individually.
Wow.
Direct composition lets developers tap into the power of your graphics card.
To create.
Even more visually stunning and performant experiences.
Hold on. Is this related to what we talked about before with DirectX having a direct line to the GPU?
You're catching on. DirectX and Direct Composition work together.
Teamwork.
They make sure those visuals are rendered smoothly as can be.
I like it.
See, in the past, When a game needed to update something on the screen, it had to redraw the entire frame.
Even if just a small part had changed.
Even then.
That seems really inefficient.
Right.
Like repainting your entire house just to change the color of one door.
Exactly.
So what's different now?
Now, with DirectComposition, developers can update just the parts of the screen that have changed.
That makes a lot more sense.
They don't have to redraw everything else.
So that's why games feel so responsive these days.
It's a huge performance boost.
Less input lag, smoother animations.
Mm-hmm.
It's night and day compared to how things used to be.
And you know what?
What?
It's not just for games.
Right.
DirectComposition is used all over Windows.
Can make.
The entire system feel more fluid and responsive.
Okay, WinComp and DirectComposition, a dynamic duo for sure.
They get the job done.
But are there any other visual tricks that Windows has up its sleeve?
Absolutely. There's the Desktop Window Manager, or DWM.
PWM.
It handles all those fancy visual effects you see on the desktop. Window shadows, transparency. Those cool 3D flip animations when you switch between windows.
Right.
It's like the stylist for Windows.
Adding those little touches that make everything look sleek and modern.
Exactly.
But what does this have to do with gaming?
Well, DWM is mainly focused on the desktop.
Uh-huh.
It also helps to create a consistent visual environment for games.
So they look nice with the rest of Windows.
Make sure they integrate smoothly with the overall Windows aesthetic.
Gotcha. I've always liked how games on Windows look polished and fit in with the rest of the system.
DWM is a big part of that.
But I'm curious, does DWM have any impact on gaming performance?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Okay, how so?
On one hand, DWM can actually improve performance.
Really?
It can offload some of the graphics processing from the game to the graphics hardware.
So it's like DWM is lending a helping hand to the game.
Exactly.
But there's a catch, isn't there?
There is. If DWM isn't configured properly,
Uh-oh.
or if the game isn't optimized to work well with DWM,
Yeah.
it can actually add some overhead and cause performance issues.
So it could backfire.
It's a delicate balancing act.
So developers need to be careful how their games interact with DWM.
They need to find that sweet spot for optimal performance.
It's all about fine-tuning, huh?
Exactly.
And luckily, Windows gives developers the tools they need to do just that.
So they can make sure their games run smoothly with DWM.
Okay, we've got this whole system working together to make games look amazing and run smoothly.
That's the goal.
But what about those super high-end setups?
What do you mean?
The ones with HDR monitors.
Ah, yes.
Does Windows play a role in delivering that incredible visual quality?
Absolutely. Windows has really embraced HDR technology.
High dynamic range, right?
That's the one.
I've seen those HDR demos.
Uh-huh.
It's like a whole different world.
It provides a wider range of colors and brightness.
Makes those images pop right off the screen.
It's like the difference between watching a regular movie and seeing it in Dolby Cinema.
Yeah. The detail and the vibrancy are just breathtaking.
And Windows 10 and later versions.
Yeah.
They have really robust support for HDR.
So game developers can create games specifically designed to take advantage of those HDR displays.
Exactly. They have the tools to create experiences that are more realistic and visually impactful than ever before.
And as HDR displays become more common,
We can expect to see even more games pushing the boundaries of visual fidelity.
that's exciting. There's like a whole new world of visual possibilities opening up.
It really is.
But let's not forget about the games that require lightning-fast reflexes.
Those split-second timing games.
Yeah. What does Windows do to make sure that input is as responsive as possible?
Windows has always been focused on low latency input. It's always getting better.
Like how?
Well, one key API here is raw input.
Raw input.
It allows games to bypass some of the usual layers of input processing,
To get.
the data straight from the hardware.
So it's like cutting out the middleman, right?
Right, exactly.
And getting the information directly from the source.
Which means
Faster response times.
that's crucial for competitive online games.
Where every millisecond counts.
You got it. It can be the difference between victory and defeat.
And remember game mode.
The one that prioritizes system resources for games.
Yeah.
That also helps with responsiveness.
So Windows is like that supportive coach, making sure you have all the tools and resources you need to perform at your best.
I like that.
But we can't forget about the other half of the equation, right?
What's that?
Audio. What's Windows doing to enhance the audio side of gaming?
Windows has always been a pioneer in audio technology.
And it's not slowing down, right?
Look, it keeps evolving.
To meet the demands of modern games.
Exactly. We talked about spatial audio before.
Yeah, where sounds are positioned in 3D space
Right.
to create a more immersive experience.
But there's a whole platform built into Windows.
What's it called?
It's called Windows Sonic.
Windows Sonic.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
It takes spatial audio to a whole new level.
How so?
Windows Sonic allows developers to create incredibly immersive 3D soundscapes that envelop the player.
So it's not just left and right anymore.
It's like having a surround sound system built right into your headphones,
Wow.
giving you a sense of space and directionality.
Okay.
That makes the game world feel incredibly realistic.
So when I hear those footsteps approaching from behind in a horror game, my heart skips a beat because it actually feels like someone is sneaking up on me.
That's the power of Windows Sonic.
That's awesome.
And it's not just for games either.
Really?
Windows Sonic works with movies, music, and other media too.
So it enhances my whole audio experience.
Exactly.
So it's like a whole new way to experience audio. Are there any other audio innovations we should know about?
Definitely. Windows is also embracing high-fidelity audio formats like Dolby Atmos and DTS:X.
Oh, I've heard of those.
They provide even more realistic soundscapes,
Okay.
allowing developers to place sounds precisely in 3D space,
So it's like having a home theater system built into your computer.
with sounds coming from above, below, and all around you.
That's wild.
Windows 10 and later versions have built-in support for these formats.
So developers can create truly cinematic audio experiences.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've talked about how Windows makes games look and sound incredible.
That's what we've been covering.
But what about capturing and sharing those epic moments?
Yeah.
What tools does Windows provide for that?
Windows has you covered there, too. It has a whole suite of tools for capturing and sharing gameplay,
Okay.
all built right in.
Built in.
One of the most popular is the Game Bar.
The game bar.
You've probably heard of it.
I think so.
You can access it with a keyboard shortcut.
I knew it. What is it? Windows key plus something?
Windows key plus G,
Right.
and it pops up right there in your game.
It's like a Swiss Army knife for gamers.
It gives you all the essential tools right at your fingertips.
So what can I do at the game bar?
You can capture screenshots, record gameplay videos.
Okay.
You can even broadcast your gameplay live,
To platforms like,
Twitch or YouTube.
so I could be a streamer.
Absolutely.
Show off my skills to the world.
Or just record funny moments to share with friends.
That's pretty cool.
And the best part is,
Why?
the game bar is super easy to use.
Intuitive controls.
A streamlined interface. It doesn't get in the way of your gameplay.
That's important.
You can access it quickly and easily without interrupting your game.
So it's perfect for those quick captures and live streams.
Exactly.
But what about when I want to create a more polished video?
You want to do some editing?
Maybe add some special effects?
Windows has you covered there too.
There's another tool.
It's called the Xbox Game Bar app.
Xbox Game Bar. I thought we were talking about Windows.
It might sound a bit confusing,
Yeah.
but Microsoft is bringing the Xbox and Windows ecosystems closer together.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the Xbox Game Bar app.
Yeah.
It works on both platforms.
So I can use it on my PC and my Xbox.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
And it gives you all sorts of advanced tools for recording and editing gameplay videos.
So I can create those awesome highlight reels with slow motion replays and dramatic music.
Without having to buy expensive video editing software,
That's awesome.
you can record gameplay at high resolutions and frame rates, edit your videos, add overlays and special effects.
Okay, that's impressive.
It's a really powerful tool for content creators.
So I've got the Game Bar for quick captures and live streaming,
Right?
and the Xbox Game Bar app for more advanced editing.
Exactly.
But are there any other ways Windows helps me share my gaming experiences?
Of course. Windows also integrates seamlessly with social media.
Of course.
Twitter, Facebook, Discord.
Oh, so I can easily share those screenshots and videos with all my friends.
Absolutely.
So I can show off that amazing clutch play.
Right.
Or share that hilarious moment when I accidentally walked off a cliff.
It's all about connecting with other gamers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about sharing your own gameplay, right?
No. Windows also makes it easy to discover and watch other gamers' content.
How so?
It integrates with platforms like Twitch and YouTube.
So I can find new streamers to follow, watch esports tournaments.
Get inspired by other gamers' creativity.
It's like a whole world of gaming content is right at my fingertips.
And it's all easily accessible through Windows.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
All the cool tools and features
Right.
that make Windows such a great gaming platform.
It's been a good discussion.
But there's one important aspect of gaming we haven't touched on yet.
What's that?
Accessibility. What is Windows doing to make sure gaming is inclusive for everyone?
Regardless of their physical abilities or disabilities.
Exactly.
That's a crucial point. Accessibility is incredibly important.
And,
It's something that Windows has been focusing on for many years.
in fact,
Windows has a long history of providing accessibility features that benefit everyone.
so even if someone has difficulty seeing or hearing,
Yes.
or has limited mobility.
Windows provides tools that make it easier to use a computer and enjoy games.
So what kind of tools are we talking about?
There are things like adjustable text size, high contrast modes, screen readers,
Wow.
and even voice control.
So you can control your computer with your voice.
Exactly. And in recent years, Windows has made even greater strides in gaming accessibility
Both in the operating system itself.
and in those important APIs like DirectX.
So developers have the tools they need to create games that are accessible to a wider range of players.
Absolutely. Microsoft even has Xbox accessibility guidelines.
What do those guidelines do?
They provide best practices for inclusive game design.
So developers can make their games more accessible.
Exactly. They're encouraged to think about things like customizable controls, alternative input methods,
Right.
options for players with color blindness or other visual impairments.
So it's like a roadmap for creating games that everyone can enjoy, regardless of their abilities.
That's a great way to put it.
And are developers actually using these guidelines
Many developers are embracing these guidelines
to make their games more inclusive?
and enjoyable for everyone.
I love that. Gaming should be a welcoming and supportive environment for everyone.
I agree.
It's about celebrating the diversity of players,
Yeah.
making sure everyone has the opportunity to experience the joy of gaming,
And technology is playing a huge role in breaking down those barriers.
making gaming more accessible than ever before.
That's right.
This is all really inspiring. It's great to see how much effort is being put into making gaming more inclusive and welcoming,
And Windows is right at the forefront of that effort.
providing the tools and features.
The developers need to create games that everyone can enjoy.
Okay, we've explored all sorts of ways that Windows enhances the gaming experience, from visual and audio enhancements to tools for sharing gameplay and the commitment to accessibility.
It's clear that Windows is a platform that's been designed with gamers in mind.
Every step of the way.
Absolutely. And as technology continues to evolve, we can expect even more innovation and creativity in the world of Windows gaming.
This has been an amazing journey so far, exploring the deep connection between Windows and gaming.
It has been fascinating.
But I have a feeling there are still some surprises in store for us.
We haven't even scratched the surface of some of the coolest and most cutting-edge aspects of Windows gaming.
Oh, really?
We're just getting started.
Well, listeners, stay tuned because in the final part of our deep dive,
We're going to explore the future of gaming on Windows.
including the rise of cloud gaming and the exciting possibilities of virtual and augmented reality.
It's going to be epic.
Don't miss it. Okay, so far, we've talked about how Windows makes games look and sound fantastic, feel amazing to play, and how it's becoming more inclusive for all gamers.
We've covered a lot of ground.
But now, I want to know about the future. What's next for gaming on Windows?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay, like what?
Well, one of the biggest trends is cloud gaming.
Cloud gaming, I've heard that term.
It's like Netflix, but for games.
So instead of streaming movies, I'd be streaming games.
You got it.
And how would that even work?
You'd be streaming high-end games from powerful servers directly to your device.
So I wouldn't even need a super powerful gaming PC anymore.
That's the idea. Services like Xbox Game Pass are already doing this.
Really?
They give you access to tons of games that you can stream to pretty much any device with an internet connection.
So I could play those graphically intense games on my old laptop?
You could?
Or even my phone?
Yeah, the possibilities are pretty amazing.
So I could be playing a AAA title on my phone during my commute, then seamlessly switch to my PC when I get home.
That's the promise of cloud gaming?
That's mind-blowing.
And it could make gaming way more accessible.
How so?
You wouldn't need to worry about having the latest hardware.
Right.
Or spending a fortune on a gaming rig.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It could really open up gaming to a whole new audience.
And that's just one of the exciting things happening.
Okay, what else?
What about virtual reality?
VR.
And augmented reality?
IR.
Are they just hype, or is there something real there?
They sound pretty cool, but
VR and AR are more than just hype.
I'm all ears.
They could totally change how we experience games.
And how we interact with the digital world.
Imagine stepping into a virtual world, right?
Okay.
You could interact with characters and environments as if you were actually there.
You mean, like, actually being inside the game?
Exactly. You could explore alien planets,
Okay.
fight dragons,
Right.
even go to virtual concerts, all from home.
That's incredible. It's like living inside a video game.
And then there's AR, which is a bit different.
How is it different?
AR blends the digital and physical worlds together.
Blends them together?
Overlays digital stuff onto your real surroundings.
So, what does that look like in a game?
Imagine playing a game
Yeah.
where characters and objects are projected onto your actual living room.
So I could be fighting zombies in my living room.
You could!
Or building a virtual city on my kitchen table.
That's the idea.
That sounds wild. But does this tech even work well yet?
It's getting better all the time.
I remember some of those early VR headsets.
Yeah.
Clunky, uncomfortable.
The technology is definitely advancing quickly.
Okay, good.
We're seeing new headsets that are lighter, more comfortable, and with higher resolution displays.
That's good to hear.
The experiences are becoming much more immersive.
So is Windows keeping up with all this?
Absolutely. Windows is investing a lot in mixed reality.
Which includes both VR and AR.
That's right.
And how is that support actually showing up?
Well, there are dedicated APIs and tools for developers
Okay.
who want to create these immersive experiences.
And are the latest versions of Windows optimized for these things?
They are. They can run these experiences without a hitch.
So Windows is basically setting the stage for the future of gaming.
It's laying the groundwork so these new technologies have a solid foundation to build upon.
And it's not just VR and AR, right?
Nope.
What else?
We're also seeing advancements in artificial intelligence
AI in games?
and procedural content generation.
AI in gaming? That sounds exciting.
It does.
And a little scary.
I know, right? But think about it. AI could create more challenging opponents.
Opponents that can actually learn.
Yeah. Imagine playing against an AI that can learn your playstyle
Okay.
and adapt its tactics to counter you.
That would definitely keep things interesting.
And then there's procedural content generation.
It's a mouthful. What is that exactly?
It's basically using algorithms to create game content automatically.
Automatically.
Which means developers can create massive, ever-changing worlds.
So no two players would have the same experience.
That's the beauty of it.
That's incredible. It opens up so many possibilities for exploration and replayability.
And all of these advancements.
Cloud gaming, VR, AI.
They're all coming together to shape the future of gaming on Windows.
It's a pretty wild time to be a gamer.
It really is.
I can't even imagine what games will be like in 5 or 10 years.
Who knows what the future holds?
But it sounds like Windows is prepared for whatever crazy ideas developers come up with.
Windows is a platform built for innovation.
And it'll continue to adapt to meet the needs of gamers.
Absolutely.
So we've gone from the very core of the Windows operating system to these mind-blowing possibilities of the future.
It's been quite a journey.
And it's clear that Windows has played a huge role in shaping gaming as we know it.
And it will only become more important as technology keeps advancing.
For anyone out there who's curious about how Windows powers those amazing gaming experiences,
Keep exploring and learning.
there's a whole world of tech out there just waiting to be discovered,
And that's what the deep dive is all about.
helping you understand the tech that shapes our world, one deep dive at a time.
We've covered a lot in this deep dive.
I know, right?
But hopefully you've gained a new appreciation for the complex world of Windows gaming.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone.
It's been a pleasure sharing this knowledge with you.
And remember, the world of gaming is constantly evolving.
Stay curious, keep exploring, and most importantly,
Have fun.
until next time.
Keep on gaming.